Ron Lyle, the most powerful puncher in the heavyweight division right now. He's probably one of the most potent punchers there are.
All right, let's take a look at Ron Lyle in action against you as you attest to his punching power.
I got written proof right there. He can hit. As you see, exceptionally good with the left hook. That's what took me down. Did I need help then?
Well, you made the help for yourself. Look at the way you came back.
As you see, I really had good vitamins for that fight, and they paid off.
But it's Ron Lyle's punching power that we'll be looking at today. That is to say, if he can connect with Jimmy Young, who's a very clever boxer. Your assessment of Young?
Very elusive and very smart. As you can watch him in the ring today, he's very confident. He's been around. He's even boxed in the rings in Philadelphia, so he knows how to take care of himself.
And, of course, he is a good counterpuncher, though without power.
And being that most fighters out of Philadelphia throw left hooks, and he's been in the gym with some of the best, he can avoid being hit with a left hook very well.
Okay, George, right now, let's pick up with ring announcer Mike Pereira.
Don King Production. In this corner, in the white trunks, from Denver, Colorado, 215 pounds, 31 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 22 knockouts. Ranked number 5 in the world, Ron Lyle. In this corner, in the green trunks, from Philadelphia, 19 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 210 and 1/2 pounds. Rated number 3 in the world, Jimmy Young.
All right, you heard Mike Pereira with the vital statistics and the introductions of the two fighters. The referee will be Rudy Ortega. Jack Downey will be one judge. Elmer Costa the second. All 3 are veteran ringmen. Scoring will be on the 10-point must system. No 3 knockdown rule in this state. No saving by the bell. They have a different rule that we don't have to go into at this time. Should the occasion warrant, we will. It's called the accidental butt or technical draw rule. The fighters, as I pointed out in my interview with Jimmy Young, are wearing 10-ounce gloves. And, George, tell them what the impact of that can mean and whom it will favor.
It takes the full potency out of Jimmy Young punches. He's not that great of a puncher anyway, and Ron Lyle will not be able to hit him hard in the later rounds.
So in the long run, as the fight gets underway, Jimmy Young may be the greater beneficiary.
He may be able to land more punches.
Jimmy Young in the green trunks. Ron Lyle in the white. We have an 18-foot ring, which is decently sized, so Young should be able to get the movement he needs as the boxer. With a right. If you were Young, how would you fight him? Try to get inside or try to stay away, George?
I think the Young should definitely avoid being hit in the body because his hope is doing the leather stretch to go in and land more punches. And this guy can land a lot of body punches. He will not be able to be as potent in the later round.
Lyle, who can put you out with either hand, who has a punishing right uppercut. That's the blow he hopes Jimmy Young will not be able to slip. Jimmy Young, the counterpuncher. Lead with the left against him. He'll counterpunch with the right. Ron Lyle, the 5th-rated heavyweight. Jimmy Young, the 3rd-rated heavyweight. Many thought, including this reporter, that Jimmy Young won that fight in Landover, Maryland. The officials saw it unanimously differently. Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white. Heavyweight bout. Action in the first round. feeling out process, obviously. George Foreman here at ringside with of holding here, George. Very little clean action.
Yeah, the first round normally with most fighters is it's a round to get acquainted in. Nobody's really interested in landing a good punch. They want to get the butterflies out of the stomach.
In their prior fight, February of '75, unanimous decision in Honolulu went to Jimmy Young. Some think Lyle took him too lightly. He's not doing that today. We approach the end of round one.
Okay, Pops, now it's...
The green trunks, run Lyle the white. First round uneventful, mark it even, nothing happened. Lyle looking for a quick kill. One of his problems in the past has been an absence of stamina. Shows a tendency toward early fatigue. Lyle working toward the midsection. Got in a right there.
That punch hurt Jimmy Young.
Left hand, Jimmy, right away. Left hand.
Out in the first round, and as is an old cliche in boxing, blows to the midsection take an accumulative toll and affect the fighter who receives those blows. That was a Freudian slip. Affect the fighter who receives those blows later in the fight as his stamina wears thin. That's Lyle's aim in going to the midsection. Second round action.
All right, Jimmy, get out of here.
The clock counting down in the second round. Still essentially uneventful, although Lyle's trying to go to the midsection. Your observation, George Foreman?
Surprisingly enough to me, Jimmy Young doesn't seem to be afraid of Ron Lyle's punching power. One thing when you're fighting a counter punch, as Jimmy Young is, you can't concentrate on hitting him with hard punches because he's very elusive. You must stay busy for 3 minutes of each round and try to win the round. And eventually it pays off if you're a good puncher by way of the body.
Let go of that hand back there.
George, surprising to see Jimmy on the inside throwing combinations there.
And he has hurt Ronnie Lyle to the body also. One punch, a left hook to the body hurt Ronnie Lyle.
We are approaching the end of round two. More punching than we saw in round one, mainly to the midsection.
Right away.
Bell just sounded for the start. Just sounded for the start of round three. Heavyweights, Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white. First round seemed even, feeling out process, nothing eventful. Second round, Lyle scored with a strong right to the midsection, but then Jimmy Young came on, landed the greater number of blows, working to Lyle's midsection. So George Foreman and I gave that round to Jimmy Young.
Hurting Ron Lyle's with body punches, no doubt. Left hook to the body.
How can you be sure of that, George? How can
I noticed the flinch. It's a true flinch. Now he's getting the favor right side.
Crowd thought Ron Lyle threw a low blow there, and indeed Ortega's telling him, the referee, Rudy Ortega, to keep those blows up. Young, obviously, as George noted in an earlier round, unafraid of Lyle's punching power, fighting surprisingly.
Very surprising. I think the run Lyle has got to stay busy. He cannot depend on one punch. I think that's the biggest mistake punchers make when fighting boxers. They try to land one punches, and the rounds have finished before you can stay ahead. You got to land punches whether they hit hard or not.
Now that which George saw early on, the flinching of Ron Lyle, becomes much more evident. In that last pummeling against the ropes that Ron took, he actually uttered in pain. There's a good right by Jimmy. He's got quick hands, Young. See him duck those punches, slip them? Remember, though, in the Ali fight last April 30th, when Ali finally, in desperation, went after him, Young would put half his body outside the ring, an illegal tactic, but he doesn't like to be pursued that way.
Right. He's a journeyman fighter and knows a lot of the tricks. For a young man, he knows plenty of tricks.
Young is 28, Lyle is 34. It's do or die for Ron Lyle. In his whole career, he's lost 4 fights. George knocked him out, of course, in the 5th round at Vegas. Ali beat him in the 11th round in Vegas. Jerry Quarry beat him, and Jimmy Young right here beat him in Hawaii. Quarry beat him in New York.
Each time out, Ron really gives a good account of himself. He really fights.
He has not yet tried to use the right uppercut that became his favorite punch in his last outing against an impressive young Kevin Isaac as we approach the end of the 3rd round.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to say Jimmy Young is a little too smart for Ron Lyle.
So it seems at this point, 3rd round action.
A man puts many things.
The bell for round 4. Jimmy Young, the green trunks. Ron Lyle, the white. We scored the first round even. George Foreman and I did. The next 2 rounds for Jimmy Young. The last round decisively for Jimmy Young. Thus far, Young has prevented Ron Lyle from using his punching power effectively. Young is making Lyle fight a Jimmy Young style of fight. Young has been unafraid of Lyle's punching power. Ties him up just as you see him doing right now. And overall is exhibiting a Philadelphia kind of ring generalship, though he is not the Philadelphia-type fighter in the accepted sense of the terminology because he lacks the big punch. But he's ring-wise from those Philadelphia gym wars, isn't he, George?
I'm afraid to say that Jimmy's a little too smart for Ron Lyle. Not that he's a better fighter, but he's a little too smart.
Well, that makes him a better.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there.
See the way Young just used his own right uppercut on the inside, connecting with Lyle's left jaw.
The moment Jimmy Young gets overconfident, the fight will end. I must add that.
I don't think Jimmy Young will fall prey to overconfidence, though, George. He's too smart a ringman. Very underrated fighter. Went into the Ali fight, a very underrated fighter. Ali had floated up to 228.5, remember? And he gave a dreadful exhibition, even though the officials voted for it. Ortega breaking it up. Lyle not getting the room and leverage he needs to execute the power of his punches.
He is literally being outsmarted. Jimmy Young is not trying to knock him out. He's just trying to stay ahead on point.
You saw Young moving across the ring there, using... There's a good right by Young. Now, pulled a knockdown. No, it was not called. It looked like a slip to me, didn't it?
It was a slip. It was a slip.
I couldn't see it as a knockdown. Although a right did get in there, it was only a glancing blow.
At this point, Ron Lyle must take control of this fight. He must land punches, whether they are hard or not, and he can regain control of this fight.
Remember, this is a scheduled 12-rounder. Remember, too, that George Foreman has signed an exclusive long-term agreement with ABC Sports. He will be co-commentator with me on this and future ABC fight telecasts in which he is not a participant. Also have exclusive negotiation rights with George. That means a right of first refusal on his future fights during the tenure of the agreement. Going down to the end of round 4, and Young in command again.
1 week from tonight, ABC.
Battle of the Network Stars. Well, I did that show, and I'll tell you, it promises to be a fun-filled, exciting, and insightful 2 hours. Will you see the tug-of-war event? Will you see the little fellow plays Epstein and welcome back Cotta as the lead man in the tug-of-war? Will you see Bob Conrad with his competitive verve? And will you see Telly Savalas on the volleyball court? He's no Kojak there, I'll tell you. Underway. Once again, Jimmy Young, the green trunks, Ron Lyle, the white. And so far, Jimmy Young has been outpointing and outsmarting Ron Lyle. Doing it seemingly at will after a laggardly first round. Although we have not had the great exciting action with knockdowns one likes to see in a heavyweight brawl, Young has nonetheless demonstrated good skills against Lyle.
Lyle is beginning to be effective with that right hand to the side of Jimmy Young. And I think that could help him during the latter part of the bout. Slow Jimmy Young down and maybe land some headshots.
That was the first right uppercut he tried, and Jimmy Young got his head out of the way. You know, Young is remarkable, George, in his ability to slip punches to the head. He was Kenny Norton's sparring partner for the second Ali Norton fight, and Kenny told me I threw him out of the camp. I couldn't hit him in the head. What you have to watch for, George, is fatigue on Lyle's part. He does tire early.
He's physically prepared to go the whole distance. A lot of his fights have been 10-rounders. He's a knockout artist, but of course he's knocked guys out in the 10th round. I figure he could knock Jimmy Young off if he stopped trying to land one good punch. He lands 3 nice, easy.
Well, you fought Lyle. Describe what happens after the first punch to Lyle's subsequent punches if he throws combinations.
Lyle is indeed a hard puncher. I can't say anything about him. He made me crawl on the floor. I've got to give him a break.
Okay. Happy with the fact that there has been so little clean punching in this bout. Much of the fight thus far in close as you see it there. Young tying Lyle up. Lyle trying to work to the midsection. It occurred to me that 1 or 2 of those blows were questionably low.
I think so. He's trying that. He's really trying hard, and some of the punches are going off mark. He's trying to get Jimmy Young to mix it up. Get mad, mix it up. Then I can land my big punch.
5th round action. Lyle the white trunks. Hey, Lyle was hurt there and hurt again. Young connected quickly with a combination, followed through with 2 more quick combinations. And Lyle went back against the rope. Really hurt for the first time in this fight, George.
I don't think he's hurt. He's really trying to force him to mix it up. And if he backs up a couple of times, get this guy overconfident, he can land that good overhand right.
We're going to stay with you after the end of this, the 5th round. Ron trying to come out was hurt, and you didn't. Right there.
No doubt he landed a good punch. It wasn't hard. He really wants to get the guys to say, come on, fight me. Mix it up with me, then I'll knock your head off. And I think this round could be a round where Jimmy Young dare mix it up with him. The round coming up.
All right, Ron Lyle being worked on in his corner. Ron Lyle's people in the corner are Sam Boardman, Angelo Curley, and Rip Clark. Some of you remember Angelo Curley. He worked with Don Fulmer. Been a long time since I've seen Don. That was in San Remo when he fought Nino Benvenuti for the middleweight crown and lost. Bell for round 6. For those of you just joining us, Jimmy Young in the green trunks, Ron Lyle in the white, George Foreman with this reporter at ringside. Good left gotten in there by Lyle. Now that was a good left. Good right to the
very
midsection
important
by
right
Lyle.
Hand. Those right hands to the side are very important for Ronnie Lyle.
It's a red welt. On the left-hand side of Jimmy Young's body, where Lyle has been landing, the right that we've been talking about.
Ron Lyles has one terrific left hook. If he can get this guy to mix it up with him, he will land it, and the guy will go down.
There is that right, got in savagely to Young's left side. Young with the left. Good right by. See, Lyle started with a left there. That's what we mean by counter puncher. Jimmy came right over that left with his right. Scored nicely with it.
That's exactly the way it happened.
Sixth round action. Into the sixth round. Lyle again, right, and then another right to that left side.
The left hook almost got over.
There on Young's left side. You notice?
Ron Lyle's left hook is getting closer and closer to the mark. And it's because of that right-hand lead he gets in there.
Oohs and ahs as Young comes back with a counter right again. Another right by Young, followed by the left. There's that right to the left side again by Lyle. Lyle's best round since the first.
This man, Jimmy Young, uses his eyes, he uses his legs. He's a smart fighter.
Interesting you mention the eyes, because I wonder if the public realizes how important perfect eyesight is in boxing. Peripheral vision, almost a necessity.
You're getting a great demonstration of using your eyes in boxing, as Jimmy Young is doing.
Same thing, of course, in most any sport, but especially so in some sports. Arthur Ashe contends that eyesight is half of tennis.
There it is. Archie Moore was one great fighter with his eyes.
There was Young scoring to Lyle's head. Sixth round action and a pretty good round. Inside Civic Auditorium, San Francisco, California. Two heavyweights going at it. The fifth-rated Ron Lyle in the white. The third-rated Jimmy Young in the green. George Foreman with me at ringside. Young, after the first round, dominant in the fight in the boxing sense, but Lyle beginning to do better in the sixth round as a result of a constant use of the right effectively to the left side of Young's stomach. And while I don't think it's manifest on the screen, there is a whole series of red welts on Young's left side. I want to alert our local stations at the end of this round, barring unforeseen circumstances in terms of action, we'll be cutting to you so that you can render your local messages. It's a seventh round action. And I must say this, Lyle not showing the fatigue he has shown in prior fights.
I think, as I said earlier, that left hook is getting closer and closer to the mark. Jimmy Young is using his eyes as you use your words. Very clever.
Oh, a good right by Jimmy. Jimmy with a flurry to the midrib.
The judges love that, too. That win points for the judges.
Remember, three veteran ring people will be scoring this fight. The referee, Rudy Ortega, Jack Downey, and Elmer Costa, the judges. Good left by Young. Right by Young that did not land squarely. Looked better than it was.
Lyle is trying to time Jimmy Young's left hook in order to throw his at the same time, and it's costing him a lot of points, being that he's getting hit while he's waiting for it.
Still much of it up close, as it has been throughout the fight. I'm a little surprised Young hasn't deviated his pattern to some degree. If, as you say, George Foreman, Lyle's left hook is getting closer, And it
Jimmy
might
Young is
dictate
holding it. When he gets set, he holds his left hand. Running Lyle's left hand so he don't get hit, as you can see there.
Right there.
He gets a good hold to it.
Good point, Joe. Good left by Lyle. That one got in there.
The left hook will find its mark, and if it does, the fight can end. Jimmy Young is no doubt a smarter athlete.
We'll return with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this message from your local station.
Gold. There is
Round action just underway. Heavyweights. Jimmy Young, the green trunks. Ron Lyle, the white. Ron not fading, at least not thus far, as we've seen him do in other fights. The left hook becoming more effective, as George Foreman, who's with me at ringside, has pointed out. In fact, Ron looking sprier, on his toes as this round begins.
The left hook is finding its mark closer. Now, for the first time tonight, Ron Lyle's landed a right hand to Jimmy Young's head. That's a sign of something is happening.
Suddenly, the Lyle left looks longer and got in there to the chest. He's pursuing Jimmy now.
The right hand is going to the head. He's only got 4 rounds to really sway the judges if he don't get a knockout.
Good right by Lyle, and again he tries to lay the right in there, and Jimmy is holding. Lyle suddenly looking strong as we get to the 8th round. As our camera pans down to the left foot of Ron Lyle, you'll see that the heel of his shoe is coming off, and that's bothering. I haven't seen that ever before in a fight. Have you, George?
New shoes at that.
And left heel is flapping. Whether or not it'll affect Ron's balance remains to be seen, but certainly it can't be good. There, he tried with the right uppercut. There it is. Counting down, and Lyle looking like a much stronger fighter. Again, the right uppercut attempted and missed. Hard to hit Young in the head. I've got to say that.
He's elusive and smart.
Young got a left in.
He's in boxing what Jimmy Marshall is in football. Smart. He knows it all.
Against the ropes. Lyle trying to work to the midsection. Overall, Lyle the aggressor in this round.
And this is the time he can really start throwing the left hook.
Right there, Young connected, and again, good combination. And Lyle is backed off into the corner. Came out of nowhere. Jimmy Young coming to life. And Lyle sent back to a corner. There's a good right again by Jimmy. All right, that was the counter right scored by Jimmy Young near the end of the 8th round that sent Ron Lyle moving backwards into a corner, a neutral corner. During the brief period between rounds, Sam Boardman, Ron Lyle's trainer, taped up that left heel on his shoe, so that won't be bothering him this round. During the course of the round, when you get a look at that left shoe, you'll see the tape under the heel up over the arch of the foot. 9th round action. Jimmy Young, green trunks. Ron Lyle, white trunks. Young rated number 3, Lyle number 5 among the heavyweights. Key fight in the careers of both men. Jimmy Young dominant in the early rounds. After a nothing first round, Jimmy worked Lyle over in a boxing sense the next 4 rounds. Lyle began to come back, using the right to the left side of Jimmy Young most effectively, and beginning to score occasionally with the left hook. The right uppercut has not yet connected. He's thrown it 3 times. Young has slipped it every time. This has been the pattern of much of this fight. Lyle with his back against the ropes. Young leaning all over him. Young unafraid of the other man's superior punching power. But Young may be a little tired from the damage to the left side.
Lyle fight very well when he's hurt. Very well when he's hurt.
Well, Lyle has a personal history of fighting back from adversity. 7.5 years, Colorado State Penitentiary. All those days in solitary confinement. Self-educated while in prison. A remarkably articulate man. Young scoring there. Young again with 2 quick left jabs. Lyle, one of the most interesting people around in boxing because of that background.
And he's a gentleman also.
Of self-education.
He's a gentleman also. And a hard puncher.
Yes.
Jimmy Young is fighting when he wants to, and when he does not want to fight, he holds and he walks around the ring. Very smart.
Trying to save.
Except he's not using any excessive energy.
Right, trying to save what he's got left. Scheduled. Good right
That hurt.
of that. That hurt.
right
Lyle.
hurt.
Yep.
That
Lyle
right did hurt.
Snapped. Lyle missing with his own right lead to the head. There's a nice scene for you.
Ron Lyle's legs are evidently weak now. He just gave in to that.
9th round action. We'll be back.
I am not an actor.
Let's look at the last round. See that right of Young's, the one that hurt Lyle so clearly over Lyle's left as the left was in the process of deliverance. A counter blow. Very effective. Now we're looking at 10th round action. Jimmy Young, green trunks, 3rd rated. Ron Lyle, white trunks, 5th rated. Repetition of this kind of information for any late viewers who might be joining us. Lyle got in a left uppercut against Young. Did not hurt. Young now changing his tactic momentarily. I've been waiting for that, George. Using the 18 feet.
He's waiting until he wants to fight, which is very smart.
Here in the 10th round, it would appear that unless Lyle, it would appear, we can't speak for the judges and the referee, but we're entitled to offer opinions. Good left by Young. Good right by Young.
Very important right-hand punch by Ron Lyle there. It hurt Jimmy Young. Now, if he can get in there and get on him, he can finish Jimmy Young. But who's to say whether he noticed that he hit him that hard?
I was about to say that it would appear, George, check me if you agree with me, that unless Lyle can knock Young out, Young is going to win another fight. This very underrated, underpublicized, but clever boxer. As you look at your picture, see those welts I've been referring to on the left side of Jimmy Young's body? Young with the left lead. Wanting to keep Lyle off him. There's Ron with that right to the left side again.
I'm afraid that if he's going to come on, he's got to start putting it all together this round and the next round. A very important left hook he landed there also. I'm wondering what my trainer and Charles Scheif would think about George Foreman facing a clever fighter as Jimmy Young.
We may yet see that. Would you fight him differently?
I'm wondering what my trainer and Charles Scheif would think about that.
I understand. That's what you said. You won't commit. But given your druthers, how would you want to fight Jimmy Young?
I think that no doubt in my mind that you got to be throwing punches all the time with a counter punch. You can't wait for a good punch. The fight will end before you can do it. Lyle has waited throughout this bout to land a good punch, and now the time is running out on him. He should have been tapping him, but of course, you know, in the ring,
we're approaching the end of the 10th round, as you can see. Jimmy Young against Ron Lyle.
I know, you're not.
The 11th round just getting underway. Scheduled 12-round heavyweight fight. Ron Lyle, 5th rated, white trunks. Jimmy Young, 3rd rated, green trunks. Fights thus far cleverly fought by Jimmy Young, getting the most out of what he's got. Ron Lyle upset with referee Ortega for backing him off. Young is now fighting in flurries that suit him, a fact that George Foreman pointed out in an earlier round.
The judges like those flurries. There's no doubt in mind that he has really swayed the judges because he did some flurries. A lot more than one Lyle.
He's paced himself by the use of those flurries so that he's got some energy left for the final 2 rounds. On the other, he scored there. But those quick, short combinations. There's Lyle again against the ropes. Jimmy scoring again to the head.
Lyle waiting again to land one punch. And as I said, the minutes tick away as he waits. He has not been beaten. He's been outsmarted.
Good left by Jimmy Young. He's really giving it to Lyle in the infighting in this round. Lyle has barely moved. He moved from one rope to another. But basically, he's been immobile against the ropes. When he lands, it's that right to Young's left side. For all those welts off.
Young was hurt with a left hook that time. He gained his balance back and kept in there. Jimmy Young is hurt.
You're sure of that?
He's hurt, but Lyle doesn't realize it.
How do you know he's hurt?
I'm looking strictly at his eyes now. His eyes tell a story of him.
Got in a good right there.
Yeah, that hurt.
Lyle again with the right to the left side of the body. That target's been unchanging for Ron throughout the fight. Again he throws. Ortega breaking them up. Yes, Joe.
Lyle is putting on a great body punching demonstration. Although it's a little late in the fight to start landing body punches. We should have did that a little earlier. Young know this is the 11th round and there's only one more round. Like I said, he's in boxing what Jimmy Marshall is in football.
We approach the end of the round. You're looking at Ron Lyle there. We're coming up to the 12th and final round of the bout. We've got a great show coming up next Saturday night, the Battle of the Network Stars, which you just saw a promo on. And, of course, this Monday night, marvelous Monday night football game. The powerhouse L.A. Rams, leaders of the Western Division of the NFC, against the powerhouse Cincinnati Bengals, leaders of the Central Division AFC. Kenny Anderson, Isaac Curtis, James Harris back in action, Harold Jackson, all of the great stars. Now back to the fight. 12th and final round. The fighters will touch gloves. They're the
Ray Leonard.
A big father still lives in Sacramento. A big father still lives in Sacramento. Let's listen to the instructions here from referee Charles Roth.
Big hands come up, box.
So Charles Roth is the referee in this particular bout. And it's Stan Ward against Ron Lyle, scheduled to go 10.
Vast difference in experience. Lyle's had 39 bouts, Ward only 10. So we'll see what kind of tricks Ron tries to pull out.
Lyle, of course, the more experienced fighter. This is his 41st professional fight. This is only the 11th professional.
And things even in all departments. Slight weight advantage for Barkley and reach advantage for Olajide. And now, as always anticipated, the fight doctor, RX, starting with Iran Barkley. What does he have to do to win?
He's got to cut off the ring on this fancy dancing guy and bang to the body to stop his movement. Olajide, if he will win, must box, run, box, run, box, run, and then box and run some more.
All right, Ferdy, both fighters are in the ring, so let's go to the ring announcer, Ed Darien.
From the Big Apple, the Ox
fabulous felt form here at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Madison Square Garden Boxing. Bob Goodman, Director of Boxing and Matchmaker, and Houston Boxing Association. Josephine Abercrombie and Stan Hoffman Promoters and Ron Katz Matchmaker presents Big Apple Bad Blood, a scheduled 10-round middleweight bout. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of this scheduled 10-round middleweight bout, Arthur Mercanti Jr. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with the red trim. He tipped in at an even 161 pounds. This gentleman has 23 wins, 4 losses with 14 knockouts. He is ranked number 7 by the World Boxing Association, number 8 by the World Boxing Council, and number 10 by the International Boxing Federation. The former Pan Americas of the World Boxing Council middleweight champion from the Bronx, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Barkley. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the gold sequin trunks with the maroon trim. He weighed in at 159 pounds. This young man has 25 wins and 1 loss. Now he is ranked number 1 by the International Boxing Federation, number 4 by the World Boxing Association, and number 5 by the World Boxing Council. He too, a former Pan Americas of the World Boxing Council middleweight champion. From the Big Apple, New York City, ladies and gentlemen, here is Michael, the Seth Olajide Jr. Olajide.
Good afternoon, Michael. Good afternoon, Iran. You both know the rules of the New York State Athletic Commission. I'm here to enforce them. You are here to obey them. Let's have a nice, clean fight. Touch gloves. Good luck to the both of you.
Well, the rules under the New York State Athletic Commission, scoring on the round system. There is a supplementary point system. Scoring handled by the 3 judges, Barbara Perez, wife of referee Tony Perez, Tony Castellano, Victor Suarez. There is a mandatory 8, no standing 8, 3 knockdown rule in effect, which means 3 knockdowns in any 1 round. The bout is over. The bell saves the fighter only in the last round. So Iran Barkley and Michael Olajide underway in this first round, and Barkley goes right at Olajide.
Olajide looking very gun-shy right now, very jittery. He's got to settle down. He's got to get some of those butterflies out. Barkley is all business coming forth, just wanting something solid to land on.
And there are boxing people who have questioned what you just brought up, the fact as to whether Olajide is gun-shy, as Barkley is able to counter with the left hand.
Well, gun-shy is Olajide's problem. Barkley's problem is much different. He has an eye that's been recently cut as recent as 4 weeks ago. Big, nasty cut. And with a guy that can pop a jab like Olajide, that ought to cause some problems down the line.
Barkley did suffer a 6-stitch cut over the left eye, and that could be a factor. And that occurred back on the 29th of January, although he won a 10-round decision over Sanderline Williams in Atlantic City. That's a slip. Olajide lost his balance.
Olajide just too jittery right now. Can't even get his legs straight under him. He's got to get some of this ring anxiety off of him right now. He's fighting scared right now. And that's not good for Olajide, but very good for Iran Barkley.
Olajide, 24 years old, born in Liverpool, England, grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia, now living in New York City, the son of Nigerian parents. Barkley, the 27-year-old from the Bronx, record of 23-4, 14 by knockouts. Olajide, 25-1, 17 by KO. Olajide's last fight was here at the Felt Forum at Madison Square Garden early February. Won a 10-round decision over Cecil Pettigrew, although Olajide was not impressive.
And the other oddity is that both of them lost their bid for the middleweight title in the same month, October. Iran Barkley to Calabe, who looked pretty good yesterday in beating McCallum. And of course, Olajide against a good shot by Iran Barkley.
Coming up on 10 seconds remaining in this first round, and a very sharp round for Barkley. We'll be back after these messages. This is the main concern of Iran Barkley. That left eye has received large gashes many times during the course of his boxing career. And Barkley picking up where he left off in round one. Will hot dog him by both.
He laughed because the Silk just out-slicked him on that exchange. They ran through 5 or 6 very hard punches, and Olajide avoided them all, drawing a big smile from Iran.
One of the only fights that Barkley did not get cut in was the loss to Sambu Kalambe. Barkley says you can call this a make or break fight. He says it's going to make me and break him. And Olajide took the left hand, again lost his balance.
Strong right hand by Iran Barkley, driving him into the ropes. Olajide getting out of there.
Barkley's biggest wins, he stopped Wilfred Scipion at 8. Took a 10-round decision over James Kinchin. In fact, put James Kinchin down in that fight. He fought Kinchin because Robbie Sims had to pull out of the bout because of a rib injury at the time. Kinchin had lost only once, and he had faced tougher competition than Barkley had.
Nice sweeping hook, not potent, not doing any damage, but kind of influences the judges. And on comes Iran with that stiff jab and the scowl on his face.
And continues that brawling, aggressive style.
Boy, if he is not hurting Olajide, he is at the very least intimidating him. The look on Olajide's face as Iran Barkley comes on with a scowl is something to see.
Oh! Olajide put down. He's been down a couple of times, put down by Tate. And then early in his career, Roosevelt Green sent it to the canvas, but Olajide came back to knock Green out. That surprised Olajide. And here comes Barkley after putting Olajide down in the second round. 35 seconds to go in the round. Barkley looking to end it. And wait a moment. Apparently, the referee, Arthur McCanny Jr. said, keep the punches up.
That gave him time. That may be all he needed. He's not in trouble, though. The Silk is not in trouble.
Final seconds, second round. So Olajide will last the round. Olajide down in the second round. He took the hit and then he tried to lose his balance. He was stunned as Barkley went right at him. And then with referee Arthur McCanny Jr. Asking or demanding that Barkley keep the punches up, it may have given Olajide a little time to regroup.
I think he was stung, Olajide, but not hurt. He got hit at the same time he threw a punch, tripped over his leg, got up in pretty good condition, and of course Iran threw everything but the building at him. A little bit of time given by the referee might have helped, but it looked like Olajide was in control of his senses.
Barkley has not been a fierce knockout puncher. 27 fights, 14 knockouts. He's won 23 and lost 4, and this is a Barkley crowd for the most part. They've been chanting Barkley, and now he's succeeding with the jab. Again, Olajide lost his balance.
Olajide's legs look like they've lost all resilience. Of course, he's been getting hit pretty hard. There has been some talk in New York that both of these are shot fighters. Their legs are doing tricks on them. Certainly Iran is not shot, but it does look like Olajide's legs are not working.
I say check the shoes.
Or the soles. S-O-U-L.
Halfway point, round 3. Iran Barkley put Michael Olajide down in the second round. And again connects with a left hook behind the head.
Olajide has got to settle down. This has got into wildness. He's trying to get wild with him. He's just getting hurt by Iran. He's got to settle down his boxing and movement and let Iran run out of gas a little bit. Right now he's fighting Iran Barkley's fight. It's almost as if it's an overreaction to everybody in New York saying you're gun shy, you're a sissy, you're not coming up, and he's trying to show that he can take a punch and come back. Boy, that could be a mistake.
Meanwhile, Barkley taking chances with the lunging right and left. Olajide has fought twice since dropping that 15-round decision. Frank Tate for the IBF middleweight crown. It was back in October of '87 in Vegas. Since then, a knockout of Frankie Owens in 6, and he won that impressive performance, although taking the decision over Cecil Pettigrew.
These are two middleweights that want to end it all with one punch. These guys, every punch is a zinger here.
And we're closing in on the end of round 3. To go between rounds 3 and 4. Michael Olajide's trainer, his dad, Michael Sr., said, "You're the smarter boxer in the ring." He said, "You're in with a gorilla, but you're smarter." And when he said gorilla, I don't think he meant it affectionately either.
Well, he should know. He's been in with a few in his long career. Iran Barkley looks like a guy that can't be denied. He looks like a guy that's just confident he's got the number of Olajide. Olajide's got to establish his boxing expertise, his superiority in movement. He's not doing that. He's standing in front of Iran fighting his fight. And of course, he's lost unofficially all 3 rounds on my card.
This is round 4 from the Felt Forum, Madison Square Garden in New York. Live on NBC Sports World, Barnes Albert with the fight doctor, Bertie Pacheco. Iran Barkley off to an impressive start. He got into boxing through his sister Yvonne, who did some boxing herself, believe it or not. She made her brother go to the gym in order to get over his fears of dealing with a neighborhood bully. And he has been dealing well here with Michael Olajide. Raising right hand by Barkley. Incidentally, for those who may be interested, Barkley's sister Yvonne had a record of 10 up and 2 down.
Well, wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Iran Barkley has been out-jabbing Olajide. Olajide must now pick up his jab and his superiority in speed. That's what his father is telling him. You're the boxer. Don't try to punch with this guy.
Left by Barkley, who followed with the uppercut.
Now he's in trouble. Now his legs in a motion. He's got a long way to go. Big trouble for Olajide now. He's got to hold on.
Oh, big hook by Olajide. It surprised Barkley. Mandatory 8, and look at Olajide taunting Barkley. He got caught. That's time left in the round. And now Olajide going for the big shot. Barkley's hurt.
Olajide letting it all lay out. He knows he's got him if he wants him. Iran smiling.
Down to 25 seconds to go in the round. But Barkley comes back. Another good left hook by Olajide. Seconds of round 4, and Barkley able to rally. He was hurt. Olajide again able to connect as the crowd responds.
Okay, you got hit with a left hook. Go on that right hand. Okay, go back there and start doing it again. Boxing. The guy's hurt. You're trying to kill him. Set him up. He got 10 rounds to go. More water on him. You heavy? You heavy? You understand?
27-year-old Iran Barkley out of the Bronx, who was having his way against Michael Olajide, was surprised. Olajide landing one out of left field.
It was a perfect counter punch, though. This is a punch on Olajide against the door. Look at the way his legs are just doing numbers on him. He is absolutely incoordinate at this point. But look what happens coming the other way. Just as Barkley throws one, there's the perfectly timed left hook, and down goes Iran Barkley.
And then Olajide looked to pick it up. Barkley smiled at him, and Barkley then came on to round 5.
And if you want to get crazy, try to explain the scoring in this town.
Oh, down goes Olajide! Olajide put down for the second time on the bout, and he is hurt.
He's really hurt this time.
And here comes Barkley. Olajide trying to find his legs.
Olajide is really hurt.
We are early in the round. Referee Mercanti trying to decide whether to step in. Olajide cannot get away. That was a desperation attempt. This one is over.
If Barkley would settle down, the referee would stop it.
Barkley throwing everything at Olajide. Officially. In a wild one here at the Belfort at Madison Square Garden, Iran Barkley has stopped Michael Olajide in round number 5. It was billed as Big Apple Bad Blood, and it certainly was. Remarks the last couple of weeks prior to the fight carried right up until they stepped between the ropes here this afternoon. And Michael Olajide, who did put Iran Barkley down in round 4, was put down for a second time in round 5, and then just could not keep away from Iran Barkley. That's the knockdown just moments ago in round number 5. And then Olajide tried to stay away, but could not. And this is the conclusion. Referee Arthur McCanny Jr. now stepping between the fighters and halting it. The official time, 1:12 of round 5. And interesting how these two guys who were screaming at each other just before the fight now come to terms. Barkley stopped Michael the Silk Olajide for the official announcement. Let's go to the ring announcer, Ed Daring.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Arthur Mercanti stops this bout at 1 minute and 12 seconds of the 5th round, and the winner by a TKO, Iran Barkley.
So Barkley now 24-4, 15 by knockout, only the second professional loss for Olajide, was 25-2. And you wonder what is next for Iran Barkley. The WBA middleweight champ is Sambu Kalambe, who yesterday won that clear-cut decision over Mike McCallum. The IBF title holder, Frank Tate. The WBC champ is Thomas Hearns. And Barkley is alongside the fight doctor.
Iran, you said in the dressing room Hart was going to win this. Hart won this?
Well, first I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But what worked for me was hard work and good heart that I have. You know, working hard, and my trainer Al pushing me and working with me hard. But I knew that I could beat him.
Did you think you had him in the second round when he was wobbling all over the place?
Yeah, I felt I had him, you know. I said, it's just a matter of time. I just got to just pace myself. Don't get wild.
But then came that shock. You got you went down.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was the shot that came, but it didn't really hurt me. It was just more a surprising shot, you know.
You got him so fast at the beginning of that 5th round that hardly anybody saw that punch. What was that?
It was a left hook.
Did you put everything into it?
Oh, yeah. I knew I could catch him with it. I was going to feint him. I said, let me get on my toes and just feint him and just shoot the left hook real quick. He won't even know it's coming. And that's what I did. That's what we worked on in the gym, and that's what I knew I could beat him with.
All right, this is Al Bolden, the manager. You have to be very happy. What's in store for this young man now?
Well, the manager got to take care of that Stan Hoffman and his manager. I just want a young man to come back and get this young man to go back to work. He got a lot of talent. People gave up on him.
And
not me.
And
I started fighting one time, and I said, this kid got something. He got heart, and if you give him the little things that you need, you'll be champion.
That's what he's got heart. Thank you very much. Back to Marv Albert at ringside.
All right, Ferdy, we'll be back to talk with Michael Olajide right after we take this break. Back.
Tough day in the Big Apple. In the 4th round, you seemed like you had the fight all in your hands to control. You dropped Iran Barkley. You think he was going to get up?
Actually, I knew Iran has a lot of heart. I figured he'd get up, but it just wasn't there. I'm going to have to take a little rest and come back.
When you say it wasn't there, throughout the fight, it looked like you couldn't control your legs well. You were slipping, you were sliding. Even when you didn't get hit, your legs didn't seem like they were working well. What is that?
I don't have any answers up, Freddie. I don't exactly know what it was, but I did feel weak going into it. I'm going to take a little rest, and believe me, I'll be back.
Maybe we'll come back too soon.
We're also looking at the end of this fight where you get tagged. Do you know what you got tagged with?
I figured it to be a left hook when I was...
That's what he said. Iran said a left hook that you didn't see coming.
I didn't.
And did you think it was stopped in time, or were you upset that it was stopped?
Well, I don't think it looked too good. I mean, the cameras are on, and my legs didn't look right, but my brain was there, and I could see myself moving out of the way of punches. I figured if you give me a few more seconds, I might be able to weather it, but the referee stopped it at his best discretion, so I can't do anything.
Very well. All right, Mac, to Marv Albert at ringside.
Set for more Top Rank Boxing, one of our co-featured events. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the introductions.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is our co-featured main event. 10 rounds in the middleweight division. The referee for this bout is Joe O'Neill. And now introducing into the red corner, wearing red trunks with red, white, and blue trim. He weighs 158 3/4 pounds from Brockton, Massachusetts. His professional record, 18 victories against only 3 losses and 1 draw, 14 by knockout. Introducing Robbie Sims. And in the blue corner, wearing white trunks with blue trim, he weighs 158 1/4 pounds from the Bronx, New York. His professional record, 7 victories against only 1 loss, 5 by knockout. Introducing Iran, the Blade Barkley.
Robbie Sims, the half-brother of the middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, in the ring against an opponent with a lot less experience, but a very tough man nonetheless. 23-year-old Robbie Sims from Brockton, Massachusetts, set to go against 23-year-old Iran Barkley from the Bronx, New York. Barkley 7-1, 5 knockouts. Last fight, December 15th, knocked out Marciano Bernardi in the first round. Sims, the southpaw, as you can see, in the red trunks. Barkley in the white trunks.
And trust me, folks, this will be a lot more action-packed than the last 6 rounds you saw. Both these fighters like to mix it up early.
Robbie Sims has got speed. He's got good boxing skills. He has a questionable chin. Sims working the body very well on Barkley. Good left hook by Robbie Sims.
Both these fighters can get inside and work with their hand speed. The question I think that people are asking is, A, Can Barkley unload on Sims and hurt him? And Barkley himself has some defensive problems that he acknowledges and says he's working very, very hard to try and correct.
Barkley in his first scheduled 10-rounder. We saw him here on ESPN back in August when he surprised a lot of people with a fine win over Frank Minton. And then followed that up with that KO over the very experienced Marciano Bernardi. Robbie Sims' 3 losses have been to 3 very tough opponents. Bobby Ches, Mike Tinley, and Clint Jackson. Good right hand got in by Robbie Sims.
Robbie getting off very quickly as he has in other fights, but in the process he is trading punches a lot with Barkley, and that is something presumably might give him a problem.
Whoa, good exchange. Both fighters getting in. I think Sims got the better of it. They go again. Sims using the right, Barkley with the left.
Sims is doing very well here, but he is trading a lot with Barkley, and I don't think that is what he had in mind. He told us today he wanted to box more.
Well, Sims has admitted that in previous fights he tends to get a little careless. And he did in that Teddy Mann fight, though he got off the canvas. He was down twice in the first round, got up and won it. Sims with great body work against Barkley.
You know what I think happens to Sims is, early in the fight he has some success as he did here against Barkley, and then he gets a little wild and trades punches. That's what he's doing right now.
Sims a great combination in there, and Barkley answering back. Barkley hanging tough in there, but I still feel that Sims is getting the better of it. Let's see, we're late in round 1.
Both fighters have landed very big shots here in this round, especially Sims.
Good left by Sims. Barkley continues to fire, but has to back off a little bit. Good straight left by Robbie Sims. Big round for Robbie Sims.
Great round
number 1. Follow Robbie Sims back into the corner, where Goody Petronelli comes out to talk to him, and I think Goody had to be fairly pleased. I don't know if it goes with a game plan, but certainly Sims fought well. Let's listen in.
You get the big round, do your floor and get the hell out of here and box. Right? That's where you're supposed to box. Correct? That's box. Don't dance, dude. You know. It ain't a fight plan. You mean Rob? Box this guy. It's not a fight plan. Good.
We will take a look here at we'll take a look at some of the action from the last round. You see the good right hook from Sims, and that landed on the chin of Iran Barkley. The right hook, a good weapon.
Well, as you heard, the Petronellis both saying, Goody and Pat telling Robbie Sims just what we said. It was a good round, but don't stand there and slug it out with him. Robbie Sims, 18-3-1, 14 knockouts. And Robbie told us today he is engaged to be married in November of this year to Renee Costa. And he says Renee has watched several of his fights and certainly has had an influence on him. He says he's working harder, concentrating more. Robbie Sims in the red trunks, Iran Barkley in the white. Sims working the body.
Robbie's laying on the ropes a little bit more than I think the Petronellis would like. That's where Barkley can get to him. Although there he moves away well.
Fumbled a couple of times here.
First round, an excellent round, and I thought Robbie Sims won it. He landed, I thought, the better of the punches of the two fighters, although Barkley did get to him with some good shots.
Would you say there was more action in that first round than in the previous 6 in the heavyweight bout?
I would say that's a 6th match.
Punch out of there.
Sims is the second lefty that Barkley has fought as a pro. Barkley fought Bruce Starling, but he faced many southpaws as an amateur, and he doesn't feel that Sims' southpaw style will present that big a problem.
Barkley comes wading right back in. And Sims answers with a good right hand. Barkley keeps coming.
That's what Sims needs to do, get off those ropes and get this fight in the center of the ring. That is where he wants it.
Barkley got in a good left hand. That one, Sims ducked under. Wise move.
The jab of Robbie Sims has not gotten on track too well, though. There, it set up a good straight left.
Robbie Sims, who says he'd like to get another crack at Bobby Ches. Ches defeated him early in 1982, January of 1982, a 10-round decision. Last year, Robbie Sims fought 5 times, had a draw with Murray Sutherland, 10-round draw. Knocked out Tony Schiavorini, lost to Mike Tinley in a 10-round split decision, and then has come back with a win over Teddy Mann. Good combinations by Robbie Sims here as Barkley continues to press on. Sims' last fight was October 9th up in Portland, Maine against Charles the Wrecker Hecker. That was a good left by Barkley that stunned Robbie Sims, and Sims had to hold on. And as we mentioned, Sims has been known to go down. Final seconds of round 2 as Barkley comes on at the end of the round. Action in this fight. There's been action. Look at that right hand. Sims almost went down. Good right by Iran Barkley in the white trunks. Robbie Sims in the red. This is round 3 scheduled for 10.
Iran Barkley, I think when he came into this fight, had to wonder deep down in his heart, can I deal with an experienced fighter like Robbie Sims? And even though I think Sims has done well in the first 2 rounds, Barkley is starting to gain some confidence, and Sammy understands now he does belong in the ring, at least for Sims.
Barkley had an amateur record of 30-4, won a gold medal in the Empire Games in New York in 1981. Sims getting in a flurry with a good right hand. Barkley gets tagged with a right, but keeps coming on. Joe O'Neill is the referee.
The combination punching that we have seen from Sims so often, even in losing efforts, has not been there yet tonight. He's landing one shot, but even though he's throwing combinations, they're not landing as effectively as we've seen them land in the past for him.
Barkley got in a left hand. Sims with a little flurry, and he ducked out of there. Barkley scores with a left hook. Barkley coming on here, landing the bigger punches.
Robbie told us today he's worked hard on keeping his hands up, but he has not done that well with that in this fight. His hands have been down. He's been hit with punches like that.
He's shaking up a bit. Barkley will win the battle of the sluggers if Sims stands and slugs.
Robbie looks a little tired to me at this point.
I think some of those punches have really taken something out of him.
I don't think it's an understatement to say that a loss here would be devastating to Robbie Sims against a fighter with this level of experience, even though Barkley has ability. So a lot on the line for Robbie Sims at this moment.
And Barkley starting to get people to notice him. Can he keep up this kind of pace? He's never been more than 6 rounds. This is round 3. Nice little flurry by Sims. Holding that corner, and Barkley answers back with that left hook.
Break, step back.
Less than half a minute to go in round 3. Oh, good flurry by Sims. And Barkley staying right there. He's not moving out. He will not let Sims out of that corner. Finally, Joe O'Neill pries them loose. Barkley gets in the right hand. And again, Sims answers with a left. Boy, are they going back and forth. Barkley with a 2-fisted attack. Comes to the end of round 3. What a round. Fans loving it here. In the ballroom at Resorts International.
How you feel?
Good round, and Barkley coming up with some big punches. Tough to score because Sims had some nice flurries in there.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. He landed perhaps more punches, but Barkley with the harder shots in that round. And Robbie did get the combinations on track, what I talked about. May not have won him the round, but he was able to land those.
Get your hands up. Start.
Take a look at some of the action early in that round. Nice left from Barkley.
As you said, on the inside, when they are exchanging punches, that can be a problem for Robbie Sims. And you'll see Robbie Sims coming back with some of that combination punching that we talked about. Good right and a left. And for Sims, if he's to win this fight, Sam, I think his hand speed will be what does it.
We come to the start of round 4. Scheduled for 10. Rand Barkley in the white trunks. Robbie Sims in the red. These are middleweights. And let's check out Al's scoreboard. Let's take a peek and see who he has in front.
I've got Robbie Sims ahead 2-1. I gave the last round by a pretty narrow margin to Rand Barkley. I think the significance of that round, even more than Barkley winning it, is that he took a little bit out of Robbie Sims, and Sims was holding a little bit. We'll see if Robbie gets his second win.
Barkley in his 9th professional fight, 7-1 with 5 knockouts. The one loss was in his 3rd professional fight, a 4-round decision to Osley Silas. Good left hand by Robbie Sims. Rocked Barkley a little bit.
And Sims took a left hook also that hurt him a little bit.
Then exchanging. The combination by Sims works well.
Sims has not been able to keep Barkley off him the last round and a half or so. And the pressure from Barkley showing some effect.
Good combination by Barkley. Backs Robbie Sims off.
Barkley has shown us more head movement on defense than we've seen from him in the past. That's something he said he's working on, and on occasion he has made Sims miss.
Past the midway point of round 4. Sims, we know, can go the distance. Barkley, we don't know. It will be interesting to see if he can sustain this kind of pace later on in the fight.
You know, in the final analysis, Robbie Sims' biggest problem, I think, is that he slaps with his punches. Forget everything else, even the defensive problems. He just simply tends to slap with his punches, and that diminishes the power, and that's why he can't exchange with other fighters. He lands a lot of punches in every fight, but they are just not big bombs. And he's strictly an arm puncher. Does not get his body into those shots.
Barkley got in a good left hand. Boy, this has been some pace.
Indeed, and as with all of Robbie's fights here in Atlantic City, tough to score.
Here they go, back and forth. And Sims, of course, has questioned a couple of the losing decisions that he's gotten here in Atlantic City. Again, Barkley getting the better of the exchanges. He rocked Sims with the right hand. Barkley with the big punches. Sims with the flurries. Round 4. Robbie Sims in the red. Tough battle, fast-paced, and very close. Neither fighter backing off. Did have news from the Petronellis, who train and manage the middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, that he will defend his title March 23rd in Las Vegas against Juan Roldan, #1 contender. Again, flurries by Sims, but one big punch backs him up from Barkley. Barkley again. Sims just can't keep him off him. Sims throwing the flurries. Barkley landing the big punches.
I thought Robbie Sims might be able to do a little bit more damage to Barkley than he has. And it's obvious that Barkley can take the best Sims is throwing, at least he has to this point. And if Robbie was boxing more and getting away from Barkley's punches, that would be an important development. But Robbie, as you see, laying against the ropes, exchanging with Barkley.
And getting the worst of the exchanges.
Well, at least in terms of power, Robbie does look tired at this point. Still throwing punches, though.
Midway through the 5th. He's landing on Barkley. Barkley with a big right hand. Sims is shaken up. Sims trying to fight him off. Sims fighting on guts alone here. They exchange. of Robbie Sims. Barkley lands with a left and a right. Sims straight land, and again, a straight left and a right by Sims scores. Wow, they continue to go back and forth.
The hand speed of Sims took over for a moment, but Barkley, when he lands the one big shot, can rock Robbie Sims.
And Sims is hurt with a left hand. Barkley just coming on in, trying to finish Robbie Sims. Sims looking to hold on and backs off.
Well, this is a tough round to score. Let me tell you, even though Barkley is hurt, Sims has landed a lot of punches.
And Barkley is tiring. That left hand sent him back on his heels. Barkley loading up, trying to drop Sims. Unbelievable that they're still standing.
And the foot speed of Sims, once an advantage, is gone now. He can only stand there and exchange with Barkley.
Sims is arm weary. He stumbles out of there. Sims needs a rest. He will get it in a few seconds. Barkley needs a rest as well. What a fifth round that was. And they're standing here in the ballroom. In the middle of the fight, the fighters get a standing ovation for that. Unbelievable.
This is exactly what we really thought this fight would be. And what has happened is it's turned out that neither fighter has been able to put away the other, though I think Sims may have been rocked a little more. We will take a look at the power of Iran Barkley. The big left hook in the middle of the round. Wow, my goodness. But how do you score that round? Because Sims really punched well there. Flurries by Robbie Sims, and he landed a lot of those punches. Although that was a good left by Barkley.
Very tough. But I think the key point, as far as I'm concerned, Al, is that Sims has gone away from his boxing strategy. Instead of stick and move, he has decided to slug it out with Barkley, and I think he's getting the worst of it.
That's really the key storyline here, that man Robbie Sims is not doing what he really wanted to do in this fight. And how many times have we seen him do this in the past?
Round 6. He has shown us tremendous courage in that last round. Took some great shots from Barkley. Okay, let's see how you have it scored, Mr. Bernstein.
Oh boy, you pick it. I got it 2, 2, and 1. Dead even, and those rounds so close to judge. And this could be a fight where there's a big edge for somebody because a judge likes rounds, a number of rounds in their head. That's what happens in Robbie's fights.
Good right hand by Robbie Sims.
And another good right hook. And we start to think now that Barkley's never been past 6, and his legs look wobbly.
Yes, but he keeps coming. He is going out, and a right uppercut lands by Robbie Sims.
Technique has very little to do right now with who'll win this fight.
Sims coming on here. Lock Barkley. Barkley is backing up for the first time. Sims with a right hand. Now it's Robbie Sims coming on. A straight left.
Barkley looks very tired at this point.
Barkley may be the one ready to go.
Barkley said today, I want to box so I can conserve energy. Boy, he hasn't done that either, has he?
Does Sims have enough left to take him out? Good left and a right by Sims. Midway through round 6. Now it's Barkley showing the courage by hanging on and not going down.
And Sims walked into a left hook from Barkley. That's something he's got to worry about even at this point as he attacks.
I don't know if either man has much leg left. Sims dripping blood from the nose. He's still bouncing a little bit. Barkley is flat-footed and a little wobbly.
Very little body work by either fighter in the last 3 or 4 rounds. Sims started out going for the body. Good right hook again by Robbie. And Barkley's ready to go.
Barkley is wobbling. Barkley is down. The count is 4. Barkley may not get up. Let's see. The count is 7. He is up. He is wobbly. Joe O'Neill stops it. What a performance by Robbie Sims. What a comeback when it looked like he was hurt. He turned it around and stops Iran Barkley in the 6th.
For Robbie Sims, it was not an artistic victory because he did get away from what he wanted to do, but it was a victory nonetheless. Faction against the man in Iran Barkley, who everyone acknowledges can punch, but did indeed lack the stamina and the experience to put Sims away.
Punched himself out, I think, in that 5th round, and early on in the 6th, perhaps sensing that he was tired, desperately going for the knockout, Sims was able to turn it around, back Barkley up for the first time in the fight, and finally put him down, and Barkley could not recover.
The legs buckled there by Iran Barkley, and here's where the hand speed. The thing about Robbie Sims is when he gets you in trouble, he can hit you with 3 or 4 punches, and that's what he was able to do.
He finally wore him down. No big punches, or not one single big punch, but a combination, successive good ones. Left, right, left. And there you see Barkley ready to go. Another good left, and the right sends Barkley down. And that was it. And I have to say, give a lot of credit to Iran Barkley for a tough performance. Still perhaps lacks a little experience, but that man took a lot of good punches. He showed something. He took some big punches and came out a winner. So Robbie Sims is still making some noise. Ready to make some noise in the middleweight division. Let's get the official time from Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big hand for Iran the Blade, Barkley, and Robbie Sims. Referee Joe O'Neill stops this contest at 2:21 of the 6th round for the winner by technical knockout, Rocket Robbie Sims.
Robbie Sims, 19-3-1, 15 knockouts. It's a TKO in the 6th round for Robbie Sims. A big win over Iran Barkley here in Atlantic City. We'll be back with more Top Rank Boxing in just a moment. Let's go to Al in the ring.
We are in the ring with Robbie Sims, and Robbie, the first thing I guess I got to say is it didn't go exactly the way you thought this fight was going to go. You planned, I know, to do more boxing.
Yeah, we did try to box a little bit more, a whole lot more than we did, but I wasn't unfortunate to. So we had to come out throwing combinations and beat him to his own game. He was strong, and he kept the pressure on me, and he had the reach, so I wasn't able to box him like I wanted to.
Okay, let's take a look at the knockdown, and perhaps as you look at it, Robbie, you can comment and tell us what you see.
Here's what I see. I see him getting tired, and I'm practicing the shot that Goody was telling me. Just the combination, hook, 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 uppercut, hook. You know, inside and outside, and beat him to his game. And that's the punch. I just missed him with the hook right there, and I tried to come back with a straight right hand because I switched right-handed, and I just missed it, so I switched back up, and I caught him uppercut and hook.
I thought perhaps the key difference in this fight was, in fact, the blood obviously coming from the nose of Robbie. I thought that the key difference might have been your hand speed. In the final analysis, you were able to put more punches together.
Yeah, that's my new strategy. I'm going to put more punches together. I seen Tinley. I seen him pick up his speed, and I know one thing: he can't beat me. Ches can't beat me, and Clint Jackson, rest some guys. When I'm at my best, they can't beat me. This wasn't my best, but it's coming. I'm throwing more punches, I'm picking up my speed, and that's how it should have been with Tinley. Tinley should have been down there just as well. We're learning. We'll go back to school with Goody and Pat, and then we'll come back and we'll be stronger and stronger. Like I said, this is 84, and we're racing those split decisions last year, and we're going to try for a new record this time.
Well, no decision tonight, that's for sure, for Robbie Sims. He took matters in his own hands. It wasn't easy, but he beat Iran Barkley. Let's go back to Sam Rosen at ringside.
Thanks, Al. A good start to 1984 for Robbie Sims.
Some fights don't need hype to sell them, and this is one of them. Carl Thompson may be 40 years old, but he's adamant he's got one big fight left in him. And David Haye at 23 is one of the most exciting and charismatic boxers in the British game. And the good news for all of you at home is they can both really punch. But Steve Bunce, 40 years old, Shouldn't Carl Thompson have been pensioned off an awful long time ago?
Yeah, he probably should be sitting at home in Bolton with his slippers on watching Amir Khan on TV. But he probably should have been pensioned off 6 years ago when he lost his first world title fight, or maybe 4 years ago when he lost his second world title, or maybe a few months ago when he was losing for 8 or 9 rounds before putting out one punch to win this current world title. You can't write Carl Thompson off. He's won world titles in France, he's won European title fights in Italy. This is a guy, and until, as they say, the fat lady's singing, Carl Thompson's still swinging. It's that simple.
And he's fighting someone who's 17 years younger than him and who an awful lot has been written about. If ever there was a time for David Haye to produce, it's now.
Yeah, he's got to produce the goods tonight, no doubt about that. But I was really impressed with David Haye in his last contest against the American Arthur Williams. There, I think he boxed with a lot of aggression. I think he actually boxed with fear in his veins in that fight. He had a tight guard, he was very powerful and very quick. I think we'll see a similar performance tonight from David Haye. I think he will fight with a bit of fear in his veins, and that's not such a bad thing, that's good.
So who's going to win? I just fancy David Haye. Carl's going to hate me for saying it. I just fancy David Haye.
Same again, I think Haye, inside 3 rounds, if it goes over 3 rounds, I think it's Thompson's fight.
Well, this fight is actually scheduled for 12, but if I was you, I wouldn't touch that remote. Let's join our MC, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening, and please welcome, bursting into the arena, the challenger for the title, David Haye!
Looking relaxed, casual, enjoying himself. This is going to be a major step up from the man who won the silver medal in the World Amateur Championships in Belfast some 3 years ago, and whom we thought might have been tempted into staying in the amateur game until the recent Athens Olympics. David Haye's flag has been carried by one Jody Marsh. David Haye's thoughts are going to be on Carl the Cat Thompson. And a great atmosphere here in the Wembley Arena as David Haye, the challenger, some 17 years younger than the champion. David Haye was only 7 years of age when Carl Thompson made his professional debut in June of 1988. But terrific support from the man from Catford.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, please welcome the IBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Carl the Cat Thompson!
Just about every one of his boxing lives. Way back in February in Sheffield, comprehensively outboxed for just about 8 rounds and most of 9 rounds by Sebastian Rothman from the Republic of South Africa, until, and holding firm to the old adage that the last thing a boxer loses is punch, Carl Thompson delivered the archetypal peach of a punch to relieve Mr. Rothman of the title and to put himself into a position where he's defending for the first time.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the national anthem to be sung by Natasha Soul.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Save
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome viewers on BBC Sports to World Championship Boxing here at Wembley Arena. And officials appointed for this contest by the IBO, the supervisor in charge, Mr. Charlie Payne from England, the British Boxing Board of Steward of Control, Mr. Des Rees, the timekeeper at the bell, Mr. Bob Edgeworth, and the judges at ringside, Mr. Phil Austin from Australia, Mr. Torben Hansen of Denmark, and Mr. Richie Davis of All Hallows in Kent, and the referee in charge of the action from Birmingham, Mr. Terry O'Connor. Promoted by Dennis Thompson and Evan Waterman's Promotions and sponsored by Interpoker.com, the world's best online poker room, proudly present a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the IBO Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Between and introducing the boxers, and firstly introducing out of the blue corner, he wears the all-white trunks and comes from Bermondsey. He weighed in at 14 stone, 11 pound and 12 ounces. He is undefeated as a professional, 10 wins from 10 contests. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the former undefeated English Cruiserweight champion and the challenger for the title tonight, presenting the sensational David Haye. And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, across the ring in the red corner, wearing the green, orange and black trunks, fighting out of Bolton. He weighed in at 14 stone, 12 pounds. He brings to the ring a 38-fight professional record, 32 wins, 24 wins coming by way of knockout with 6 losses. He's the former British, European Cruiserweight champion and the current and reigning and defending IBO Cruiserweight champion of the world, presenting Bolton's Carl the Cat Thompson. The referee, Mr. Terry O'Connor of Birmingham, will now give his final instructions to both boxers.
A very trim-looking Terry O'Connor brings them together for this most eagerly awaited contest in British boxing.
At all times, good fight, best come out tomorrow. Yes.
So 3-minute rounds for the IBO Cruiserweight Championship of the World.
Well, among the questions that have been asked about this contest would be, is it a contest too far for Carl Thompson? Is it a contest too early for David Haye? We are about to find out.
We certainly are. You know, Carl's a notoriously slow starter. He's got to be so careful because, you know, Haye is a notoriously fast starter. Anything could happen.
Haye looking the bigger and the stronger of the two. Good right hand by Haye. And again by Haye. He is a very, very hard puncher as the former IBF Cruiserweight champion. Arthur Williams found out in Haye's last contest, that was in May in Reading. He stopped the very impressive Williams and he's landed with a couple of good shots, and that was a good combination by David Haye. And look at that, there's not a flicker of emotion on the face of Haye as he goes to work, and Carl Thompson is in serious trouble in this opening round. The 3 judges at ringside may not be needed for this one if David Haye keeps going like this.
This is what we've come to expect from Carl Thompson. He gets punched from pillar to post, round after round. Takes him a few rounds to get going, it really does. But what a cracking, lovely left uppercut from Haye.
Well, Haye really is going to work. This is amazing by David Haye. He started off impressively against Arthur Williams, who was almost 40. He started off even more impressively against a man who is 40. Haye is catching Thompson, and those old legs of his are starting to wobble a little bit. We thought he was long gone against Sebastian Rothman before he came back with the contest-ending punch. Haye will not leave anyone a chance. Thompson is all over the place in this opening round.
This, again, I have to say what I said earlier, this is what we've come to expect from Carl Thompson. Haye looks incredibly sharp, has the box nice and careful, can't take it for granted.
Good right hand once again by Haye. Well, Thompson has more lives than a cat. He's got the heart of a lion, but Haye's got him again with a left hand. And Haye at this stage can't miss. Good jab by Thompson. He needs to regain his composure. Great footwork by Haye, just eased himself out of a tricky position. But Haye looks menacing and mean and wicked, and he's got Thompson again. Timekeeper started the count, but Terry O'Connor's let him go on. Thompson looking beleaguered. Can Haye end this by the end of the first? Thompson's mouth is open. Great uppercut by David Haye, and a right or left round the corner.
Thompson's hurt definitely. His legs are all over the place. He is a notoriously slow starter. He's gone up there.
Terry O'Connor breaks them up. I thought for a second he was going to end this. Just a few seconds remaining. Back comes Thompson with a meaningful punch. Surely he hasn't been bluffing us all the way through this round. I don't think so. Haye nearly got him at the end. Haye got caught himself and wobbled. What an extraordinary opening round. Thompson looked to be gone 2, 3 and 4 times. And judges at ringside, Richie Davis from England, Torben Hansen from Denmark, and Philip Austin from Australia look as if they were redundant. What's going on in the Thompson corner? Well, Morris Core, the former British light heavyweight champion, is ever in Thompson's corner, but they must be desperately concerned about Thompson. He is an extraordinary man, Thompson. He's saying, I'm fine, but I'm not sure that he is. David Haye threatened to dismantle the old warrior in the opening 3 minutes. Well, can he survive a second round?
I just feel the cat is probably at his most dangerous now. You know, Haye's got to box with extreme caution and a real cool head in there. He needs to pick and look for his openings.
Haye in right, one of the most gifted amateurs produced in Britain in recent years, now turning into one of the most talented professionals. Just his 11th professional contest, remember. Thompson has been to the very top of the mountain and back down again with alarming regularity. Oh, great right hand! What a shot by Haye! Thompson is all over the place once again. Haye is going to stop it surely in the second round. Terry O'Connor is giving the old champion every single chance. You can hardly hear the command break, which is what was issued. Well, Rothman from South Africa could not produce a series of punches compared with what David Haye has delivered, and look at Haye.
Haye's got to be careful he doesn't punch himself out. He's putting everything into these punches, and look, his mouth drops open. Now he knows he has to regroup, back off a little bit, get his breath back, because Carl's still standing.
Well, some people reckon Haye within 3 rounds. If it goes beyond that, it could be Thompson. Haye will want to try to get it over as quickly as he possibly can. He's never been beyond 4 rounds before. Stiff jab from the challenger.
The pace of David Haye slowed notoriously. Obviously he's a massive puncher, as is Carl Thompson, but you know, this really is, I'm telling you, the first one to land's going to go.
Haye bouncing up on the toes yet again. Still more than a minute to go to the end of the second in what has been a hugely one-sided contest. Haye is blowing a little bit, I'm amazed to say.
He's put so much into that onslaught. Everything he's trying with optimum power. Now he's stumbling over his feet ever so slightly.
Thompson wobbles and wobbles, and so many times he's still been there despite those wobbling. Right hand from Thompson was pretty ineffective. Remember, we have seen Haye hurt. That wasn't a bad right hand by Thompson. Lolenga Mack put Haye down and had him in all sorts of trouble before Haye came back.
Well, look, you're right, Carl Thompson, off at your own peril. This guy's been out on his feet in the first round, and now look at him, he's forcing the fight with David Haye. Haye does look a little bit tired, you know, the whole occasion, the whole fight can get to a fighter at different stages in the fight, but his punches don't have that same snap at the moment.
A couple of right hands from David Haye, not terribly effective. End of the second round in sight. It's a round that I think Haye has won, but it's been a better round for Thompson. But then after the first round, anything could have been better for Thompson. Is he going to do it again? Is he going to pull out a remarkable performance in terms of taking punishment and then dishing it back out again? And has the pendulum swung in favour of Carl Thompson?
Everything that we've done in the gym, all the moves, the walking off, the flanking, the blocking and carrying. Now it's time to get more.
Well, Alan Booth is saying to David Haye that everything we've done in the gym, but as Jude McKenzie quite rightly observed, David Haye's whole pace suddenly dropped off alarmingly. That was a shot that would have ended many another contest, and look at Haye, really went for Thompson, and the wily old fella covered himself up to make the target area as small as possible, and Terry O'Connor had a really good look at him. There was that right hand, and anybody else I'm quite sure would have folded, but not Carl Thompson. What is that chin made of?
Second out, round 3.
We thought he was gone in the first, we thought he was gone in the second. Here is Carl Thompson in the third, and again it's write him off if you dare, and he suddenly comes forward, and that's the first bit of zip we've seen. Is it Thompson's turn now to go on the offensive?
Well, I really expected David Haye to box and not try to take this guy out in the early rounds. I expected him to do everything off the jab and then follow it up after that, but he's just gone for Carl Thompson, and now his pace has definitely dropped. He knows he's got to be more careful. He can't just throw shots in the general direction where he hopes they're going to land. They have to be more pinpoint.
Well, Haye is standing there, and Thompson is being first, slicing right hand from Thompson. Caught the challenger, wasn't much behind it. Round the corner from Haye, there's no zip in those punches, there's no venom in those punches. Maybe he's taking the breather.
But he shouldn't need a breather right now. What he should be doing is taking the centre of the ring and using that jab, looking for the openings. David Work looks a little bit lacklustre because he's gone for the knockout right at that present moment in time. It never paid off for him.
Well, he took that good stiff left jab from Thompson flush, and he grinned a little bit. Haye may just be measuring his man up for another big shot, a right hand perhaps. The longer this goes on, the longer or the more Thompson will fancy it. That'll work again from Haye, but he's missing with those shots. Did catch him. Good right hand round the corner once again. Haye still going for the big singles.
Well, he's looking to stamp his authority again in this round, looking to pot shot with single punches. To just really start using his jab, because, you know, I'm telling you, Carl Thompson's, his legs are gone. He just doesn't have the footwork which he once had, obviously, in his youth. So, with the younger guy, you would expect it from Haye to use a lot of lateral movement, get in and out behind the jab, wear this old war horse down.
Well, there's a danger of Haye slowing down to Thompson's pace, and that will suit the 40-year-old.
There's also the danger of David punching himself out.
Well, he's showing Thompson the shot, and Thompson could tend to bide his time. There was another solid right hand by Haye with 40 seconds to go, and again flush on the jaw, and Thompson takes it and comes straight back and jabs Haye, and Haye gets him again. Haye grimaces, great body shot by David Haye.
I don't know how this guy stands up. I really don't. He's like Freddy Krueger or Jason in one of them horror films. He just won't go away.
Watch the shoulder from referee Terry O'Connor. Thompson has survived another round. Nasty clash of heads there, accidental. Good left hand by Thompson. Caught Haye with a decent shot, and Thompson up on his toes at the end of that round. And Haye, breathing heavily, goes back to his corner. And the longer this goes on, the better it is going to suit the champion, Carl Thompson.
How are you feeling? All right. Let's go to the street. Let's go. Take y'all. Listen, just inside.
score very softly spoken in the Thompson corner. Another extraordinary round. Thompson coming forward really for the first time. Haye has to fend them away. Haye, as ever, with those hands held very low. From David Haye, turned his man very nicely, but Thompson is still there.
Round 4.
Well, a lot of the smart money, or so-called smart money, was in the man in white trunks, David Haye, winning this contest by the end of round 2 or even round 3. We're now into round 4. And remember, last time out, Carl Thompson took an absolute battering for 8 rounds against the former champion Sebastian Rothman and produced an extraordinary one-turn stoppage in the 9th round. And we know that David Haye is a little bit susceptible. Thompson just working away. Those legs of his, there's veins on them like a road map.
You know, the worrying thing for me about David Haye right now is that there's no snap behind his punches. There's no urgency behind his work. He's looking for that one big payoff punch. It hasn't happened early on, but now you'd expect him to use the whole perimeter of the ring, stay out of trouble because the cat's dangerous, but there's no life in his legs. He's just standing there dormant.
Well, he's getting himself caught, and this will suit Thompson. Good right hand by David Haye. But the initial impetus has gone the way of the champion, Carl Thompson. He's got to get himself back into this.
You know, the mind's a very funny thing of a boxer, it really is. I just wonder now if David Haye actually feels fatigued. He looks tired and he looks a little bit cumbersome.
Well, I have to harken back to the World Championships in Belfast 3 years ago when David Haye put the Cuban Orlanier Solis on the canvas in the opening round, and Solis got up and came back at him and eventually stopped David Haye on the 15-point differential rule, and Haye looked a very tired and beaten boxer on that occasion. And look at the bounce now, the bounce with Thompson. Good right hand by Thompson. This is truly amazing from the 40-year-old. And there's nothing coming through from Haye at this stage. One punch could change all that. But it's Thompson coming forward. Has the tide turned?
Well, it looks that way. I mean, Thompson took a flush left uppercut right to the jaw, and in the round previous, that same punch bobbled him. But as I said before, he's like Freddy Krueger, he just keeps coming. But Thompson's got swelling now on his left eye, where he's taking those shots from David Haye.
Haye not doing very much. He's content to let Thompson have a go at him. Thompson lands with a good right hand. Wasn't all that much behind it, but these are shots that are going to take a lot of the steam out of David Haye's work. Better right by the challenger. 30 seconds remaining.
Haye can't take it for granted that Thompson's going to punch himself out, because he doesn't. This guy's been around the block many a time. He's had more title fights, and David Haye has actually had fights. He knows his way around this ring.
This is title fight number 16 for Thompson. Good right hand by him. Again, not a lot behind it, but every single one of those shots is being felt by David Haye, and he might just get a little bit more on it at some stage. Thompson, and again Thompson lands, and this is the best round so far for the champion, and he gives him a really baleful look, as if to say, I have taken some, the best you can throw at me, and I'm still here, and I'm coming back. Well, what a round that was. I'm sure there might be genuine cause for concern in the Haye corner, because that was the first round that we reckon that he's lost.
Absolutely. The turn of the tide, as you've just seen it, that was Thompson's round. He's done exceptionally well. This guy's been out on his feet, but look at this onslaught from him. I mean, Haye's standing passive. He's got the poker face, but he's taking punches as flush as you could want.
Well, is Haye trying to kid us all a little bit and just stand there and say, I can take shots as well, and I've got a little bit in reserve?
Throw your punches, move the body, move the head, okay? Not with the chest.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Let's go.
Close your legs.
Move up now, your legs, okay?
Come on, you're fine. Round 5.
Let's go. Come on.
Well, who would have thought that after rounds 1 and 2, which went so convincingly the way of the challenger in the white trunks, David Haye, that we'd be in round 5, and look at the bounce now. Haye is very much flat-footed, and all the bounce and zip and movement is coming from what a great shot by Carl Thompson. Left round the corner, and again Haye is getting hit far too often and far too accurately.
Well, Haye's legs look gone, they really do. He's absolutely rooted to the canvas. He's still throwing big shots, but they're single shots. There's not enough of them. That'll give Carl Thompson all the confidence that he needs to come forward like that. And he can't have afford to let Carl Thompson tee off on him.
Well, we did ask the questions at the start of this contest. Was it a contest too many for Thompson? Was it a contest too soon for David Haye? Those both still to be answered. But at the moment, this is a contest that is suiting the pace and the experience and the craft and guile and sheer bloody-mindedness of Carl Thompson.
He's struggling to put a combination together right now. He needs it to get his confidence going again, to stamp his authority. But he can't put punches together in bunches. Okay, that hurt, but look, he's absolutely winging these punches in. He can't sustain the attack.
Hayes' mouth is open. He's breathing very heavily. He's looking for the single shot.
And he waited for the single shot, but he waited too long and got picked up with a jab on the right hand.
Great shot round the corner.
That's a knockdown. That's a genuine knockdown.
The second time in his professional career that David Haye has been on the canvas as Carl Thompson, who's now got a 10-8 round in his favour, going to finish this, and has the much vaunted great hope of British cruiserweight and world cruiserweight boxing going to get a lesson from the old fella whom everybody had just about written off.
I said at the beginning of this fight, right, Carl Thompson, look at your own peril, because I tell you, this guy, he won't lay down. David Haye needs an almighty punch now to swing this back in his favour, but he looks in terrible state.
He's getting caught with right hands. His defence is all over the place. There's nothing coming back from David Haye, and one wonders what sort of mental condition he is in. He always looks in great physical condition. Did he really think he was going to get rid of Carl Thompson in the first couple of rounds? Did he really think that he shouldn't have trained for 12 against a man who could do 46?
Well, this is incredible from Carl Thompson, it really is. Yet again, he's proved himself. Haye's gone!
Oh, he's all over the place. The towel's come in from the Haye corner. The towel has come in, and it's all over. David Haye's career is in tatters. David Haye's career is in tatters. The towel has come in, and they've decided that it's all over. Well, you would have not got money on this happening at all. The most amazing performance by Carl Thompson. And what has happened to David Haye? Where did David Haye go to? Where did David Haye disappear to? But what does it say about Carl Thompson? This fella does not know how to be beaten. This fella does not know how to lie down. This fella was going to go out on the shield, and as it turned out, the challenger, the man some 17 years his junior, was reduced to, well, novice status by this wily old warrior. They talk about cats having 7 lives or 9 lives. This fella's got 100.
It's a boy.
Again, Thompson's produced one of the most remarkable, it has to be described as remarkable turnarounds in any fight. Again, you write this man off at your own peril. He is a real credit to the sport. David Haye absolutely punched himself out. The first couple of rounds, put everything into it, and he paid the price. It's an incredible turnaround, yet again, by the cat.
Well, they've got oxygen in there for David Haye. He really looks weary from about the 4th round on. He looked as if there was nothing in the tank whatsoever, which is extraordinary given the fact that he's only 23 years of age. He says, well done to Carl Thompson. And the old master has done it again. But the question has to be asked, what went wrong with David Haye? What an amazing turnaround by Carl Thompson. Outboxed and outbattered. And then all of a sudden, in this round, he produced 2 knockdowns, genuine knockdowns. Haye got caught. Little glancing blow off the side of David Haye's head, and Haye looked so susceptible and so vulnerable, and he couldn't take it at all. And then Thompson, not content with that, did it again. There was that slicing hand, and look at that. Haye all over the place, and Thompson rushed in for the finish. And at that point, the towel came in, and Haye was completely gone. What a finish by Carl Thompson. And even more spectacular perhaps than the one against Rothman, because David Haye was really the much vaunted hope of British boxing, and his career really has got to go back to square one. There's the towel comes in, and Carl Thompson will be celebrating yet again. Haye had absolutely nothing to give back in return, and look at him, there's a look of resignation on his face. He said come forward, but it was half-hearted, and Thompson needed no second bidding. What a finish by the 40-year-old.
Carl, we should be getting used to it now, but that was pretty amazing.
I don't know. I think I was on the receiving end of most of it. So, you know what I mean. I'm not the most greatest talented boxer in the world, but everyone knows my strongest point is my heart. And if I hang in there, I'm going to give any boxer trouble in the world. You know. Yeah. And with full respect to David, he showed how much talent he has. He's got brilliant talent. You know what I mean, I knew what was going to happen. One of us was just going to go. You know what I mean? And I went prepared to go. That's all it was.
How close were you to going in those first 2 rounds?
No, he rocked me. Don't get me wrong, he hurt me. Don't get me mistaken, but my head was clear. My head was clear. I'm waiting for him to come in, and I think he's a bit wary of it now. I was waiting for him to come in. He did come in a few times, and he caught me by surprise. I'm full of respect, but I was having enough sense to put my hand up and watch where he was coming from. Yeah.
And then gradually you worked your way back into the fight, and by the 5th round now, we can look here if you can take us through the first knockdown, about midway through the first knockdown.
Well, I felt like Dave was getting tired. He was throwing less punches. I don't know, he was trying to make more of his punches. He tried to make more, so I thought, increase it now. Now's the time to increase it. Step on him, increase on it. Like I said, throw it. Every time we worked in that punch to get out of the top, I missed him there, didn't I? I know I got him. He's still shaking. Was you kidding, man?
A little bit. He was going to come back in with a shot.
Yeah. Listen, it was all planning to throw the punch. The punch was there. Just pick the punch and just throw it. You know what I mean?
Where does that rank among all the wins you've had in your career?
It ranked high because everyone give me any hope. They use age every time they think age in my face, and I'm showing you age is not a barrier. We are individual. We're not all the same. Why tarnish me with the same brush with everyone else? I mean, I've got enough strength. I know what I'm in the sport for. As long as I know what I'm in the sport for, you know what I mean, no one can tell me nothing different.
David, from your point of view, the fight was won after 2 rounds. What happened?
It wasn't one. I knew that Carl had a lot more in the tank. I've watched his fight, as I said in the previews, I've watched his fights for years. I know what he's like. Even with Chris Eubank, he dummied and tried to play possum a couple of times and come back with big shots. When I thought I had him going in the first couple of rounds, I could see in his eyes that he wasn't that gone.
And his head was clear.
I could see it when I was in there.
He interview me, he doesn't seem to see it.
I knew that, and that's why I took this fight, because a lot of people in British boxing, they try and take fights that 100% know they could win. I knew that Carl's got tremendous heart. I knew that he could take big beatings and come back. That's exactly why I won this fight. If you look at the last few months, Danny Williams has gone out and beat Mike Tyson. Amir Khan's had a great success in the Olympics. I wanted to do the same sort of thing. I wanted to come and give value for money. And sometimes you've got to risk losing to give value for money. I think everyone who watched that would pay money again to see that again. I would love to fight him again because it gave everyone such entertainment. And believe it or not, I was actually enjoying it in there because I knew I had him hurt a couple of times. I knew he hurt me a couple of times. But that's what boxing's about. Boxing's about not knowing the result.
But you seem to run out of gas very quickly, David.
It wasn't that I was running out of gas. I wanted to slow the pace down and watch what he was doing. If you looked, I was actually getting hit less when I was throwing less punches. When I was rushing and trying to finish him, that's when I was getting caught with big shots. So I wanted to slow the pace down, let him throw his shots, block and cover, and pick my punches a bit better. As it happened, he just caught me with a few good shots, and I could say I adopted the wrong tactics. I went out there trying to give too much to the crowd and just getting stuck in where I could have tried to use my skills in outboxing. But if I could have ran around the ring and picked a jab here and not get involved, but people would have started booing, and that's what boxing is not about. That boxing.
I allowed you, Dave.
I know. Obviously, he was trying to allow me. But I think I could have made it a bit more comfortable myself by using my jab a bit more. But boxing's exciting. Boxing's all about not knowing what's going to happen, and I actually enjoyed that. It might be a loss on my record, but I can come back. All the best fighters lose from time to time. Bernard Hopkins lost his first fight. He come back to be one of the best fighters in the world. De La Hoya's lost. Mosley's lost. Roy Jones has lost. It's just one of those things in boxing. Carl's lost, but he's come back now and proved that he's one of the best fighters.
What about next time then, Carl? Will David get another chance?
They get a chance. I fight anyone. Don't you understand how I'm functioning? I fight anyone. It doesn't matter. And I'm not trying to be hard. I'm not trying to be a big man. I mean, as long as people are paying the money, I fight him. You know what I mean? That's me.